Hello, this is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, and that ain't no jive. And I also want to welcome everybody that's here today and offer you my gratitude. I may not have gotten a chance to offer you my gratitude earlier. And those of you online, I want to offer you my gratitude. And we're going to talk about how holding grievances is an attack on the plan for your happiness. How holding grievances is an attack on the Creator's plan for your happiness. How holding grievances is actually an attack on your abundance, an attack on your joy, and an attack on your happiness. Besides that, it's not having any effect at all. Okay? So we're going to talk about the Course in Miracles. A miracle is a right perception. A miracle is a right answer. A miracle is an expression of love. And a miracle is a correct right answer according to the Course in Miracles. So if we accept a right answer, it's a miracle. So that's why it's called the Course in Miracles. If we love each other and relate to each other at the level of kindness and oneness and taking responsibility for our experience and not blaming other people and not getting angry and not attacking, the Course in Miracles says that's a miracle. That's a miracle. It's not whether or not you can walk on water, and all you do that every time it rains. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about us being able to change our mind, to see things differently, to want to be happy more than we want to be right. Yippee. So a Course in Miracles, and how holding grievances is going to keep you from having that kind of peace and joy and love that you want to have. If you're interested in finding that out and hearing another way to look at things, then you're in the right place. So we're going to start out with our theme song. It's one of the Course in Miracles lessons, which is, I am not a victim of the world I see. I am not a victim of the world I see. You are not a victim of the world you see. And those who know the words, I'm not a victim, say what, of the world I see. I'm not a victim, say what, of the world I see. I'm not a victim now, say what, of the world I see. I'm not a victim of, no, I'm not a victim of my call. I'm not a victim of events, circumstance at all. I'm not a victim, say what, of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. That includes the good stuff. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim, hey y'all, of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Wow. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim, no. I see. No. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Ah, so glad I got my road crew with me.
I'm a victim of this muffin now.
You're a victim of the muffin. Yes. That happens. That happens sometimes.
I got teeth. I can do it.
Okay, here we go. I love doing a Course in Miracles. You teach best what you most need to learn. So I'm teaching this so I can learn it because I have almost perfect attendance at my own class. There's been a couple of times, especially after some holidays, I wasn't really here, but I thought I was. So, introduction. This is a Course in Miracles. Do you know a Course in Miracles is a required course? Only the time you take the Course in Miracles is voluntary. Only the time you choose to take it is voluntary. What is it that free will doesn't mean? Free will doesn't mean that you can establish the curriculum. Free will does not mean you can establish the curriculum for your happiness. Saying that you have free will only means that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. In other words, when you get ready to go to college, say for instance, to be a lawyer, they tell you the curriculum you're going to take in order to be a lawyer. You don't go there telling them what you're going to take in order to be a lawyer. So where does your free will come in? Well, you can decide how many hours you want to take, whether you want to do it at night, whether you want to do it on the weekend. So all of us are going to have to learn the rules of happiness and the rules of love, and they're consistent. When we decide to do it, it's up to us. So free will doesn't mean you establish the curriculum. Free will means you decide how much you want to learn or how much you want to change at any given time. The Course in Miracles says the Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. So the Course in Miracles is not going to teach you the meaning of love. It's not going to teach you the meaning of freedom. The Course in Miracles is not going to teach you the meaning of love because, do you know, the meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. The meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. So what is it that the Course in Miracles aim to do? Well, the Course in Miracles aims to remove the blocks to your awareness of the presence of love in you and in your life. So the Course in Miracles is an undoing process. It's going to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. You're here because you want to let go of the blocks to your happiness. You want to let go of the blocks to your peace. Your natural inheritance is love. You deserve to be loved. You're entitled to love. And real love has nothing to do with what you do, and it has nothing to do with earning it. Okay, real love is not something you earn. Real love is something you are, and real love is something you're given. Okay, special love is the bargain. Special human love is the bargain love. It's the love you get if you act right. Got it? You better familiar with that one? You got my love as long as you do what I want you to do, how I want you to do it, who I want you to do it with or not want you to do it with. I got a lot of scripts for you, and if you act out my scripts, you will receive my, what kind of love? Dysfunctional love. Right. It's not like I'm going to be a great big gift. All right? I'm showing up with my issues, all right? But I'm going to love you through my issues. Okay? You only have the responsibility of absolutely just validating me and my value. Besides that, no problems. Then the Course in Miracles says the opposite of love is fear. The opposite of love is fear. Do you know the opposite of love is fear? So when you feel fear, you are not feeling love. And the Course in Miracles teaches that there is no fear in love. There is no guilt in love. And there is no anger in love. That they're two separate things. So I might go, I love you, I feel you, I love you, I feel you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I fear you, I feel you, I feel you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, fear, love, 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 today, tomorrow, fear, 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 but I'm not loving you with fear in it. Okay, according to the Course that we don't have to believe. Then it says the opposite of love is fear. Love is all-encompassing, so love can have no opposite. There is really no opposite to love. It just looks like it. So what we call fear is the absence of love. It's like if I cut off the light, darkness is what shows up because the light is off. It's not like the darkness actually exists. It's just when you have a lack of light, darkness is what's left. So when you have a lack of love, fear is what's left. So does that mean what we're seeing in the world a lot and hearing about in the world a lot is a lack of love? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a lack of love. And then the Course in Miracles says it can be summed up very simply in this way. So let's sum up the Course in Miracles. To sum up the Course in Miracles, all you have to do is recognize nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Okay? So if it's real, you have a real relationship, nothing can threaten it. If you have a real relationship, nothing can threaten it. If the love you have with somebody and the connection you have with somebody is real, nothing can threaten it. So therefore, what that means, there's no need for jealousy to be in a real relationship. Jealousy can't be in a real love because you would know the relationship could not be threatened. So therefore, you wouldn't be freaking out every time you see the person talking to somebody. Because you would only feel afraid if you thought the relationship could be threatened. So there's only love, there's only fear. The Course in Miracles says those are the only emotions that we ever feel is love or fear. And all the variations of happiness and joy and abundance and health and peace and wealth, all those things are expressions of love. Fear is anger and guilt and separation and attack, sickness. All those things are expressions of love. But basically, the only two things that the Course says we are experiencing is what? Love or fear. Love or fear. Fear tends to come up with strangers more than fear comes up with people that you know. So therefore, if it looks like we're strangers to each other, then it's harder at first for us to really totally, completely relax and be open and join because we don't know each other. We're strangers to each other. And like sometimes I've often said, sometimes it's easier for me to feel peace and love with you if I don't know your ego. If I don't know all your issues and your insecurities and your suspicions and your fears broken into when you're a pretty cool person. You know, the periods that we're really cool, right? But our real self, our true self is always cool. Our true self is love. Our true self is spirit. Our true self is consciousness, awareness, mind, all that is. Our real self is unlimited. Our real self is totally innocent. Our real self is totally powerful. Our real self takes responsibility for its experience. Our conditioned self, our concept of ourselves, what we learned to think we are, that's our ego. It's the self-concept that we have is who we think we are based on the experiences we've had in our past up to today. That's who we call us. Because I would venture to say that you would say you're not the same person that you were or was 10 years ago. I venture you would say there's been a difference in you. Right? So what you really changed is your concept of yourself from what your concept of yourself was 10 years ago. Yeah. Right? So this one is just as phony as that one. Mm-hmm. The one that's sitting up in the chair now, probably 10 years from now, you'll say this one is also not who you are anymore. Save yourself some time and say it now.
None of them are me.
Right? So the Course in Miracles calls that the ego. The ego is the part of us that believes we're separate from each other. That believes we're different from each other. So it's just like being one body, right? And I fall in love with my hand, but I absolutely won't have anything to do with my leg. That's the way we are. We pick and choose parts of our one self that we want to identify with and feel love and connection to. So heaven forbid my hand cheat on my thigh. If it's all me. A leaf at the top of the tree is connected to the same tree as the leaf at the bottom in the bottom branch. So actually they look totally separate, but when you stand off of it, you go, oh, wait a minute. All those leaves are part of the same tree. So they're really all one. It's one thing. Or here's another great analogy. In the fall, when the leaves drop off the tree and appear to die, the tree itself doesn't. And then it produces new leaves. So do you want to be a leaf or do you want to be the tree? So if you think you're a separate human being that's separate from the rest of creation, That's like you deciding to be the leaf that has a season to live.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great analogy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I heard that start.
I know. I'm just a part of you that's awesome.
Yes.
And that right? Right. So in the sense, the Course in Miracles or any truth teaching is teaching you to identify with the tree itself and not the leaves. Okay? Because this leaf is having a birthday next month. It's about to drop off the tree. So I'm doing the tree thing right now. I don't know where everybody else is, but I'm working on it. I got to get to the trunk quick. The Course in Miracles says we forgot to laugh, and that's how we ended up in hell. You know, we forgot to laugh, and that's how we ended up in a world like this. People think that they're separate from each other. So herein, he says, nothing unreal exists. So if it's not real, even though it looks like it exists, it doesn't really exist. If you're in a relationship that's based on fear and separation and attack and guilt and blame, it'll look like it's real, but it really isn't. It really doesn't really exist because it's not dependable and you can't count on it. So nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Okay? I like to work out of the Course in Miracles book because I've been teaching and learning the Course in Miracles for 43 years now. I've been doing it full time for 36 years. And the reason why I'm saying it is to earn the right to sit in front of you and talk about it. I have earned the right to sit in front of you and talk about it. That means the purpose of your relationship with me is to save time. I'm here to save you time. All right? And so the purpose of our relationship is to save time. And so I've done 43 years for you. I've done it for, like when I go to a mechanic to get my car service, the mechanic did how to work on transmissions for me. See, if I had to do it, it'd never get fixed. But right, so I'm taking advantage of what he's learned for me, and you can do the same thing with me. And always remember, a good teacher does two things, or a good parent does two things. A good instructor does two things. Number one, you believe in the ideas that you're sharing. You believe in what you're talking about, and then you believe in the people that you're telling it to. So the Course in Miracles says a good teacher believes in the ideas that the teacher is teaching, but also believes in the students, the people that he's teaching. Another thing the Course teaches is that you can't change the world. You can't change anybody. You can't change anybody. You can't change anybody. You can't change anybody. Did I say? You cannot change anybody. So what does a good teacher do? A good teacher is a good motivator. You can't change anyone, but do you know the Course in Miracles teaches that you can motivate a person to change themselves? So a good teacher is a good motivator, but it's hard to motivate somebody about something that they themselves are not interested in learning and accepting as true. So my job is not to try to convince people who are not into the Course in Miracles that they should get into the Course in Miracles. That's too much hard work. There are more people that I could ever get around to that's already open to another way of looking at things, and they wish they had somebody to support them in it. Like there are people who are interested in the Course in Miracles, for instance, and they would like to get into it deeper and get more clarity in it. Then wouldn't they be easier for me to work with than the person who thinks I'm crazy to say this stuff? Right. So it's really, so remember now, someone sent to you by spirit for you to help. There'll be two qualities according to the Course. You will be willing to help them and you'll be able to help them. So if somebody's coming to you for your help and you just hating it every second of it and you feeling a ton of resistance and you forcing yourself to do it, then that's you deciding that you're the one that should handle it and not necessarily someone that spirit sent you to handle. Yes, but. Yeah, so it's easier for you to get somebody to do something that they want to do and that they're willing to do. Spirit knows who they are. We don't. Spirit knows everything. Your perfect partner, your perfect job, your perfect situation, everything that you are questioning, wondering, and figuring out. The Course in Miracles says your higher self, Spirit, Holy Spirit, already knows. And so what you should be doing is getting rid of the blocks to you being able to listen to the guidance that's coming from within you, rather than trying to use all your time analyzing and trying to figure things out. It's easier to live by guidance than it is by you trying to figure out the unknown, is what it says. So then it gives you guidelines, which I cover every week. It gives you the guidelines that you're supposed to use to study A Course in Miracles. So those of you who are out there and you really feel this is your path and you really would like to get support and you really work with a dedicated teacher, I'm available. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. Nothing gives me more joy than to share A Course in Miracles with someone who wants to learn it. That is my favorite thing to do. So I would love to be able to do that. And that's why I always work out the book, because a good teacher has a goal of one day being rendering themselves unnecessary. That you won't need me, but you might check out the class because you want to support what you're already doing. But my job is to make myself unnecessary to you. I've done that with a lot of people in my life. They see me as totally unnecessary now, especially ex-girlfriends. So I was a good teacher for them. They go something because they go, I don't never want to see you again. So you know you did your job and you can ride off into the sunset feeling really good about yourself. I love how the Course says, forgiveness is the end of specialists. It says, how can you tell when you made something an idol? It says, the way you can tell when you made something an idol is that you're crying. You're weeping. You're sad. That means you made something more important than the truth to you. Something more important to God. Something more important than your peace. That's what idols do. Idols always disappoint you because they can't give you what you want. So remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. This is straight from A Course in Miracles. So I'll say it this way. You need not believe what Earl Purdy is going to say from A Course in Miracles. You need not accept what Earl Purdy is going to say from A Course in Miracles. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas, I'd say today, you might find hard to believe. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all, okay? Take your robes off, okay? Take your robes off. I'm not asking you to come here to judge me for an hour. I'm not going to judge you for an hour, okay? Because it really doesn't matter whether you agree with what the Course says or not. Because whatever is the truth is going to be the truth whether you agree with it or believe it or not. I could go, I don't agree with the principle of gravity and jump off the top of this church, this building. Will I fall up? No. So your belief has nothing to do with what is really true. What? My belief doesn't make things true or untrue. What is the truth is going to be true whether you believe it or not. Let me give you an example. You are totally and completely, unconditionally loved. You are totally and completely innocent. You are totally and completely forgiven. You are totally and completely free. You're totally and completely responsible for how you see things. Now, I don't care if you agree with that because it's the truth. If you tried, you'll find out. Now, do I care about you? Yes. Do I care about whether you agree with me? No. Because I couldn't fulfill my role as a messenger if I was concerned with how the person's going to react to the message. You know, I've never seen my male person say, you know, I was going to deliver this, but it looked like a bill, so I don't think I'm going to give it because you might get upset with me because I delivered this bill to your house. So remember, if you want to be honest with the person, and you're ready to say what you really feel like you need to tell them, don't have a condition on how they should respond. Let them be able to respond any kind of way they feel like they need to respond. Because the healing is in your being willing to communicate. I love this. I love this so much. I love this. So how do you know the Course in Miracles is true? How do you know the Course in Miracles is true? It says, using the ideas, give the ideas meaning, and we'll show you that it's true. So if you use it, you'll see that it's true. And the Course is, first and foremost, is working with our perception, the way that we see things. So the Course in Miracles is concerned most of all with the way you interpret your experience and the meaning you give your experience and the way that you see things. It works at the level of the mind. The Course in Miracles works at the level of perception. It works at the level of thought. It works at the level of mind. And we did lesson 72. We started with holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. It's the same as saying holding grievances is an attack on love's plan for your happiness and peace, which is on page 124 in the Course in Miracles workbook. If you have the books, like I said, I want to be especially helpful to you because sometimes people feel like it's reading the Course that is so difficult. And I want you to be able to benefit from it. Okay, and so we said last week, we said, which is really deep, and I'm not going to get really, really, really deep into it. I want to go further. But it's the Course. Do you know the Course in Miracles says that a part of us wants to replace God? It wants to replace love. It wants to replace oneness. The part of us that wants to be separate is the part of us that wants to replace the plan of love, which is the plan of oneness. So the Course says the you and I, the ego, the part of us that thinks we're separate is the physical embodiment of that wish. What wish? The desire to replace God, the desire to replace the truth. I want to replace love. I have my ideas. I think I'm separate. The truth says I'm not separate from you. I want to be separate from you. So therefore, I have the wish to replace what the truth is saying, what God says, what the truth says. So the Course says it's that wish that actually surrounds your mind with the body. I love that. Oh, this is so deep. It says surround your mind with the body, keeping your mind separate and alone and unable to reach other minds except through the body that was made to imprison the mind. So the fact that I want to be separate from you, I have to be separate in something. Now it looks like I'm separate in the body named Earl Purdy. It looks like it's separate from all of you. It looks like I can't reach you except through the body. So now it looks like I can't reach any of you except through the body because now I want to be separate from you. I have to be separate in something, so now I have a body. That's deep, y'all. Mm-hmm. But it's so simple that people don't get it. I'll say it again. I want to be separate from you. To be separate from you, I have to be separate in something. That's a body. So it looks like I'm inside my body. It probably looks like you're inside your body. So it looks like your mind is in the body, right? And your body and you is surrounded by your body. And it looks like you can't communicate to anybody except through the body. And so the body is really a limit on communication. So you can't use the idea that you are a body to really expand communication because it looks like there's a limit to how much I can communicate to you through a body. So the Course says the ego would have you believe that it's all about the body and that the body is what can really expand your joining and expand your communication, but it really isn't the body that can expand your joining and expand your communication. It's really the mind, right? Like the people all over the world that's watching this class right now, it's because of the ability to communicate beyond the body that they're able to watch this right now. Our minds are joined, our bodies are not. Our minds are joined, our bodies are not. The Course says we think it's just the opposite. We think our bodies are joined, or we're trying hard to get them to join. And it's our minds that are separate. I have my mind, you have your mind. No, I have my ego, you have your ego. That's it's not you have your mind and I have my mind. It's you got your ego and I got my ego. And so the Course says, although the attempt to keep the limitations of the body is obvious here, it's perhaps not so apparent that holding, it's not obvious to us. Do you know it's not obvious to us that holding grievances is an attack on God's plan or the Creator's plan. You said it to most people that grievances is an attack on their happiness. Some people will object because they think their pleasure comes out of holding the grievance. I know people who pride themselves on how long and how well they can hold the grievance. So it's just the opposite. They think the grievance, well, I'll never forgive my daddy for the rest of my life. You can't make me forgive my. So I think that holding grievances, that's my salvation. That's where my peace is going to come from. And the Course in Miracles says, I don't know how to break it to you, but holding grievances is an attack on the plan for your happiness. It's just the opposite. So it says to us, it's not obvious to us, though, that that's the case. And so let us consider the kind of things that you hold grievances for. So let's take a look at the things that we hold grievances for. Now, what did we say, those of you who have been coming a few weeks and we've been covering this grievance issue, what did the Course in Miracles say a grievance is?
If this were different, I'd be happy.
If this were different, I'd be happy. A grievance is me saying to myself, if you spoke differently, if you act differently, if you behave differently, then I'd feel good and I'd be happy. A Course in Miracles says a grievance is saying if I was in a different situation and if I was in a different circumstance, I would be happy. If I got another house, I'd be happy. If I got another car, I'd be happy. If I could go out of town, I'd be happy. If I lost weight, I'd be happy. If the Democrats changed, I'd be happy. If the Republicans changed, I'd be happy. If the Independents changed, I'd be happy. If white folk changed, I'd be happy. If black folk changed, I'd be happy. If Latinos changed, I'd be happy. If Americans changed, I'd be happy. You see, the Course says a grievance is always you telling yourself that something outside of you, other than you, and other than your mind needs to change in order for you to be happy. That's a grievance. So every time you're upset with anybody, it's because they're not acting the way you want them to. Every time you're mad, every single, no exception. No exception. Anytime you're upset about anything, you're wishing something beside you would change. Or somebody beside you would change. And you can feel justified. And so I'm not saying you can't feel justified. You can go, I wish that robber that robbed the bank. Were you trying to tell me that there's something wrong with me saying I wish that robber would change? Yeah, if you're wishing that robber would change so that you could be happy, you're definitely making a big mistake because you don't have any control over the robber and the robber's mentality or the robber's willingness to change. So anytime you make your happiness depend on somebody else's behavior, did I say anytime you make your happiness depend on somebody else's behavior for you to feel peace, then you're coming up with the grievance and the Course said you're going to be miserable and you'll never know what happiness really is. I don't care how justified you feel, because no matter what happens to you, the Course in Miracles teaches you're the one that's determining the meaning you give to it, and since you're giving it the meaning, the reaction that you're having to anybody or anything, your reaction that you're having to anybody or anything, that reaction that you're having to that person. You know the person I'm talking about. Okay, that reaction that you're having to that person, it's coming from the meaning that you're giving it. So you give it a meaning that gives you a feeling. So you're never responding to anybody directly. You're always responding to your interpretation of what's going on. And never are you really responding to what's going on. Like every one of you out here right now having a different reaction and a different interpretation to me and what I'm teaching right now. Don't you see that? Every one of you are judging me right now and having your interpretations right now and how you feel about what I'm saying right now, right? Yeah. Okay, and then that's generating the way you feel right now. Some people could be bored as hell right now. Some people could be on the edge of their seat right now. Some people could be confused right now. But it's the same person talking in front of you. So what you're doing is responding to your perception, which is your interpretation of me right now. So like I've said many times, that means you are giving yourself the class. Because it's you that's giving the meaning to everything you're hearing me say right now. So it's you teaching you right now. And if you didn't enjoy the class, it has nothing to do with me. I'm doing a hell of a good job. It's the class you gave you. Does that make sense? Okay, now apply that to your mate. Apply that to your boss. Apply that to what's going on in the world. That's just as true about everything in your life right now. You are only responding to your interpretations of everything that's happening. So therefore, if you are telling yourself that everybody else needs to change in order for you to be happy, you're using the wrong plan. according to the Course, right? And so that means that the meaning that I'm giving it is determining how I feel. Wouldn't it make sense then if I was given a new meaning, I would have a new feeling? Right? So what's the Course in Miracles? That's what the Course in Miracles is doing. It's giving you new interpretations of everything in your life so that you can have more peace. It will give you a way to look at no matter what you're going through. You know, I've used the example of when my sister made her transition in a fire several years ago. The reason why I made it through that, as well as I was able to make it through that, was because I learned new interpretations of death from the Course in Miracles. It gave me new interpretations of how to look at that situation, called for love. And my sister was spirit. She was not her body. The truth is that it was a call for love. She still exists. Her body doesn't. See, that's another way for me to look at it. Now, whether that's true enough or not, really, to me, doesn't even matter. Nope. Because it still made me feel better, so it was a justified way of looking at it. That's better than looking at it like she was a body that's rotting in the ground, that's disintegrating. But we better believe that. We'll defend that perception. Right? And so the Course in Miracles told me to look at it like, actually, her soul and her consented to make that change at that time for her to leave the body. You determine when you're born and you determine when you leave, no matter how you left. Even if it seemed like you were murdered, even if it seemed like it was an accident, even if it seemed like it was a disease, even if it seemed like it was whatever's going on at a soul level, what we are being taught by New Thought, spirituality, and the Course in Miracles is that no one dies without their consent. Now, does your human ego personality think so? Hell no. No. Because it has forgotten who it really is. You think you are the leaf and not the tree. So the Course says, what do you hold grievances for? He says, well, let's think about it. He says, aren't what you hold grievances for always associated with something a body does? A person says something that you don't like, right? I'm holding a grievance against my brother-in-law because what he said at Thanksgiving dinner. So I got a grievance against you because you're saying something you don't like. The body said something I don't like. He says, a person does something that's, I love this one. A person does something that displeases you. So I'm upset with you now and I have a grievance towards you because I don't like the way you behaved the other day. So I have a grievance because of something that the body has done that displeases me. And doesn't that person sometimes try to hide their hostile thoughts by their behavior? They behave like they like you and can't stand you. So their behavior is hiding their thoughts. Have you ever done that? Have you ever acted the way you were not feeling on the inside? Oh, yeah. Okay, we've all had that experience. So the Course says that's what your grievance is about. Your grievances are about somebody displeasing you, so they need to do something different in order for you to be happy. That person says something you don't like, and then the Course in Miracles says that person displeases you in some way, and so that's where our grievances tend to come from. And it's a body that seems to be doing that. Don't forget, Course in Miracles students, the Course says there's nothing harder for us to recognize than the obvious. Mm-hmm. When I first read that in the book, I thought that was hilarious. He says, yeah, there's nothing for you guys, nothing harder for you guys to recognize than something that's perfectly obvious. If he's got his hand around your throat and you're up against the wall, they might not love you. If I'm always telling you that you need to change in order for me to be happy, I'm not accepting you for who you really are or how you are. He says that we forget we have a hard time with the obvious. He says, so when you have a grievance, he said, did you know you're not really dealing with what the person, he said, what the person is. What you're really always concerned about when you hold grievances is you're concerned about what they're doing in their body. I'm concerned about how you're acting, what you're saying, how you're behaving. I'm always concerned about what you're going to do with your body and in your body. You really see that's true in relationships, right? In relationships especially, what is the thing that most people are most concerned about with their partner in a relationship? One of the things that people tend to be concerned about. I'm not talking about you spiritual people. Sure. Okay, because I know you're going to say you don't probably have any of these characteristics because you're spiritual. I understand that. I understand. And I always say, denial is what? Not a river in Egypt. Okay. And denial is a biggie for people. But most people are concerned about what that person is doing with their body, what they're doing when they're out of my sight, what they might do with somebody else, or anything. He says most of our concerns are always about the body. So the Course in Miracles says when you do that, and then you're doing more than failing to help to free that person from their body's limitations. If I see you as a body instead of as an unlimited spiritual being, and all I'm concerned about is what you do with your body, then I've forgotten that you're an unlimited free being. And so I'm doing more than not freeing you from your limitations. He says, I'm really actively trying to hold you to the idea that you're a body. I'm so focused on what you do with your body and that you are your body that I'm really trying to hold you to your body. And the Course says, so then I'm confusing you with your body. See, we confuse each other with the body. I think you are that body instead of your being the mind, the spirit, the awareness, that unlimited being that you really are. I think you are a woman or a man or whatever gender identification that you care to tell me about that you think you are. Now it's much more complicated nowadays. Yes. So I want to say that again. You probably think I'm a body, and I probably think you're a body, and I'm judging that you are a body according to how you're reacting and what you do. So then I'm confusing you with your body, and I think you are this person that's going to die one day, or you were born and you're going to die and you grow old. So I'm confusing you with your body and not with your true spiritual identity. So therefore, I'm judging you as your body. I think you are your body. You call this body Earl, and then I reinforce it by responding to the name that you called me. So we 2 steps away from reality. I'm really not Earl, and I'm really not the body. I'm really the holy child of God. I'm really the holy child of God. I'm really a being of love. I really am a spiritual being. I really am spirit. And so are each and every one of you. So I am confusing you with that. And heaven forbid, I've even wanted certain people because of their body. Don't tell anybody. I don't want y'all to, this is something that's just between the 2 of us. I have had attractions to people because of their body before.
Really?
I know I know you haven't. I know you've never had any of that. You know, really, Earl, what? Yep, a few times. The butt did get me, y'all. I'd have to admit to you that. It actually made me forget their true spiritual identity. I just thought, well, I'll just bring them to the Course. Later on, we'll deal with that, you know. And so I don't like to do spirituality at a level that I don't talk about things at the level that we experience them on. I'm sorry. If you're looking for a teacher who doesn't talk like a regular person, I'm the wrong person for you. Because if I can't apply this to my day-to-day life in terms of who I think I am, then this has no value to me whatsoever. So I don't want it to be another spiritual thing I talk about for an hour, forget it, go back out in the world and live like I've never heard any of this. So I want to recognize that if you are a body, then God must be a body. The Course says it's not possible that the creation is not like the creator, right? Usually a chicken doesn't give birth to a tiger, right? Chickens usually give chickens. Tigers give tigers. So the creator and the creation usually have the same attributes. Mm-hmm. So either you are a body or you a spirit. If you a spirit, you were created by spirit. If you were created by spirit, then you have the powers of God. You have the powers of love. You are more than what you appear to be. So if I want to see you as a body, then I'm limiting you and I'm not seeing you for who you really are. The Course, think about this. Have you ever wondered why people are not satisfied and they're discontented? Well, the Course says, well, it's impossible to be contented with less than what you deserve. And so there's nothing in the world that's giving you what you deserve. You deserve more and better than anything you can come up with for yourself. And that's why people are not satisfied. It's because they know they deserve more than what they're giving themselves. And so that's where discontentment comes from. Discontentment comes from your sacred inner knowing that you deserve a lot more love and a lot more peace and a lot more joy and a lot more safety than you're giving yourself right now. And so you call it being discontented. But actually, it's a good sign that you are recognizing you deserve more than you're giving yourself. So if you're in a relationship and all you're feeling is discontent, you know you deserve more than you're giving yourself in that relationship. If you're on a job and all you feel is discontentment and you want to shoot yourself every Monday morning, then that's a part of you knowing that you deserve to be in something that you're giving yourself more joy with than what you're doing right now. So your discontentment is really making you aware that you are limiting yourself and you're not giving yourself the things that you deserve. And a conscious being knows that their contentment will never come from changing other people and things outside themselves, but they know it will come from removing the blocks to realizing how complete and how whole and how beautiful and how loved they already are. See, so a conscious being goes in, an unconscious being goes out.
That's a good one to repeat.
Yeah, the conscious being goes in, and unconscious being is always trying to change everything and everybody outside themselves. Wow. If you were different, I'd be happy. If you were different, I'd be happy. So then the Course says, so that means did you create yourself? Then the Course says, well, ask yourself, did you create yourself? 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 Then if you are created, you must have a creator. That's common sense. That's obvious that there's the law of cause and effect. We wouldn't exist if something hadn't caused it. So get off it that there is not a greater cause than you. In a sense, you did come from a big bang. Oh, some of y'all really didn't get that. And some of y'all didn't get it. That's okay. It's your interpretation. But, if you just want to believe you came from a great cosmic accident, that's okay. That's okay. So the Course says, if God is a body, then what could God's plan for your happiness be? If your creator is a body, and you are a body, then what could the plan for your happiness be? What could it be but death? I don't know about you, but I learned through my religion at the time I grew up that everything was going to be great after I died in heaven, provided I wasn't going to hell. But, it's like when you die, right? So the plan for most people is not to allow themselves to experience the joy and the happiness that they deserve right now. They believe all that's going to happen after death. And so they're using death as a way to escape. I just might be held here, but sooner or later I die. And I'm not saying that on the other side of death there isn't something incredibly beautiful and wonderful, but I'm saying some people are seeing death as an escape from a horrible life that they're leading right now that they don't really feel really loved and appreciated in. So it looks like God's plan is for us to die, then we'll be with our Creator after we die. See, that's now the Course in Miracles is especially here, I think, to heal people who grew up in religion. Okay, I think it's a niche teaching, really, even though it's teaching universal spiritual themes that anybody could benefit from. But I think it's especially aimed, just with the Christian terminology, I believe it's especially aimed toward people who grew up with religion that gave them the fear of God and belief in heaven and hell and sin and guilt. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people that learn that. So it's a lot of people that need to learn that they're innocent and sinless and guiltless and there is no punishing God. There's only a loving Creator, and they need to get rid of those fundamental beliefs. And I find that to be true, especially with Course in Miracles teachers, students over the last 40 years, because there have been so many people, including myself, that had a lot of resistance to the word God, to the word Holy Spirit, to the word sin, to the word heaven. It's like, and if you had charges on all of those terms, that lets you know that you still have a misperception that needs to be cleared up. It means you still have some of that old programming affecting your relationship with God, or it wouldn't bother you if I said the word God. See, that's how you can tell when you've transcended something. When you transcended something, it doesn't bother you one way or the other. If you haven't transcended, it still bothers you. So don't think that you are beyond what you revolt against. Tell me what you're revolting against, and I'll tell you what you still believe has power and that what you still believe. I'm revolting against racism. You're racist. I'm revolting against anger, then you're full of it. Because whatever I'm revolting against is something I think is real, something I think is there. So the Course in Miracles says, in trying to present, now I love this part because the next part is going to talk about how we think God is a liar, right? Here's a Creator that's promising. He says, in trying to present God's self as author, I love that. It says, of life and not of death. It looks like our Creator is lying to us. Our Creator is deceiving us. Like our Creator gives us a lot of false promises. Like our Creator is always offering us false ideas. And the Course says, in place of the truth. You know, I'm telling you that you are eternal, but then my sister died. Seems like that was a lie. You know, I say I believe in you, and I still got that sickness that I almost died. You telling me that if I'm kind to people, things are going to go great for me. I've been kind to people, and my car got stolen yesterday. You see what I'm saying? There's so many times that it looks like the things that we were taught about our Creator is a lie, that it's not true. We're told that our Creator loves us, and then at the same time, some of us were taught our Creator is going to send us to hell for the rest of eternity. That seems like a lie to me. Tells me that you're going to love me no matter what, but then you're judging everything I do. So the Course says that if we would be honest with ourselves, there's a part of us that has a grievance toward our Creator, and feels like if our Creator exists at all, then why isn't our Creator handling all this horrible stuff that it seems like is going on and healing everything and healing us and making my life all beautiful? It's like this whole God thing is a lie. That's what it seems like. It's a lie. Because it still looks like I got to take care of myself and don't nobody else look out for me as much as I do. So it still looks like I'm kind of on my own. I don't know about you, but that's what it looks like to a part of me, that I'm on my own. So it looks like this whole idea that I have the protection of God, the protection of a higher power, that I'm not alone. Sometimes that doesn't seem like you tell me that I'm an extension to God and I'm constipated. I'm this body. You say I'm an unlimited spiritual being and I got a cold. It seems like that's a lie. It seems like a lot of the stuff that these books are saying is a lie. So the Course in Miracles says God is a liar. God is a deceiver, full of false promises, offering illusions in place of the truth. And he says, don't you know that the body's reality makes this view of God convincing? In other words, if God made bodies, then God made death, because it looks like death happens to bodies. So if God made bodies, God also made bodies that die. God made bodies that die. And if the body is real and you think you are only a body, it's hard to escape the conclusion that you were created by God as a body that will die one day. This is too obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway, because some people are ready to hear this and it's going to make them go bing, and that's okay. That's okay. Because what the Course in Miracles is doing right now is actually answering that question, how did I get here? And then why do I stay here? And then he goes on and say, when I see you all as a body, I'm totally overlooking who you really are. When I see you as just a human being, I'm overlooking that you're a spiritual being. When I look at you as a body, the Course in Miracles says, and so I'm reinforcing my belief that you are a body. And not only are you all bodies, I'm condemning you for what you do. And what am I condemning you for? He says, well, I'm condemning you because I'm constantly saying you need to be different in order for me to be happy. I'm telling you what you are doing to displease me, that you need to change. I'm not trusting you the way that I should. I'm believing that you are temporary and you're not an eternal being. So I'm condemning you to the body. I'm seeing you as a body. And then people say, well, how do I stay in this condemnation and judgment? How do I get out of this condemnation and judgment? How do I get out of this fear? I'm going to tell you right now. You have to let go of the idea of if everything was different, you'd be happy. That's how you get rid of it. That's how you move. The Course says the way that you move out of fear and conflict and guilt and pain and sorrow and sickness is to let go of this idea that everything but you and your mind must change in order for you to be happy. Stop using your mind to figure out how somebody else needs to be different. He just said it. So I'm going to visit my sister, let's say, and then I'm trying to figure out how I can get my sister to be different and so that me and her can get along. So every time I do that, I'm forgetting that my sister is spirit, my sister is me and my sister one. I'm responsible for how I'm feeling. She's responsible for how she's feeling. I'm not seeing her as an unlimited spiritual being. I'm seeing her as a body that's separate from me called my sister. So I've now made my sister a body and not the holy, unlimited child of spirit, the unlimited child of God. Now you're just a person that's called my sister who needs to be different. in order for her brother to like her.
Yep.
That's why I tell people, watch my classes and listen to them at least 4 times. It takes a while to hear what I'm saying. That's why I call myself the remembering coach. I'm here to help you remember. And also, the Course in Miracles says the way that you change your mind, the way that you change your mind, the way that you change your mind is through repetition, not analyzation, not judgment. You change your mind through repetition. You have to hear over and over and over again that your desire to have somebody else be different in order for you to be happy is attacking the plan for your happiness, and you'll never be completely happy as long as you act out the plan that everybody's got to speak or act differently in order for you to be happy, or you got to be in a different circumstance in order for you to be happy, and you got to have a different situation than the one you're in order to be happy, as long as you make your happiness dependent on anybody else changing in any kind of way and being upset about how other people are acting in their body that you're seeing is separate from your body, then you're making them as a body, and so you're reinforcing the idea that you're separate, and when you reinforce the idea that you're separate, then you forget who you really are, and who you really are is me and you and one. So everything is set up to make us think we're not connected to each other. Why did that happen to us? The Course says the reason why that happened to us is that we wanted to be special. And as soon as you want to be special, you got to make everybody different. The only way you can make everybody different is to see yourself superior or inferior to somebody. And so you got to judge everybody if you want to be special. And if you want to be special, you're asking to be treated in a way that nobody else is treated but you, which is further exclusion and further separation. Have a nice day. Okay. All right. So, the Course says we're doing it to ourselves, but then we project it on God. It says we're the one that limit ourselves and who we think we are. He says, but then we turn around and we project it on life. Life is God. We project it on the universe, and then we say the universe or somebody else is doing it to me. Actually, I'm doing it to myself. But I'm going to say you're the one that's doing it to me, because remember, I'm using my mind to focus on who needs to change but me. And let me tell you something. Now, one of the best ways to get someone to change to be the way that you want them to be is to make them feel so guilty they do what you want them to. That's a little tip. If you, the plan is, see, I got to make you different in order for me to be happy. Your butt needs to change. So what I'll do is, through anger, I will make you feel so guilty that you give in and you will try to come home 15 minutes earlier than you did before. So I've just made you a body that's separate from me, that I'm projecting guilt on to try to get you to be different in order for me to be happy, which is going to create resentment from you and me in the long run.
Yep.
So that's just a little tip. You can try to make people feel guilty in order to do what you want them to do, but you're increasing the guilt in yourself and the belief that you can be manipulated by guilt. But you're going to be sorely disappointed if you try to pull that guilt trip on a person that's a consciously evolving being. Okay, because you try to put a guilt trip on me, I'm going to go in the opposite direction from you as fast as I possibly can. Because nobody who really loves me is going to try to make me feel guilty. Doesn't mean that sometimes I don't deserve a loving correction. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I may not need to be corrected sometimes in a loving way. But if you try to use guilt on me, then you're my enemy. The Course in Miracles says that guilt, somebody who makes you, trying to make you feel guilty, is your enemy. Because a conscious being would never attack you in order to get you to change. And that's what guilt is. It's a direct attack. Wow. So now, since that won't work on me, then you're going to get mad at me if you're in a relationship or a friendship with me, because you won't be able to manipulate me. And since you can't manipulate me, you're probably going to get mad and get upset with me even more. And you're going to call me selfish, because I won't allow myself to be manipulated by your guilt trip. So when you become more and more innocent, sometimes you become more and more misperceived by people who are still in the old way of thinking. And they say you're selfish and uncaring because you won't allow yourself to be manipulated anymore, because you know nobody that really loves you is trying to make you feel guilty. Someone who's really loving you is trying to see what you're doing as a call for love and a call for help and a call for healing, a call for communication. So I'm finishing this paragraph up, and then I'm gonna complete. Now, stop holding God responsible for what you're going through. Stop holding God, the Creator. Don't hold love, the Creator, the creation, all that is. What are the other different names I can use for God that some people will be able to hear what I'm saying? Your Creator is not responsible for the unhappiness that you're going through right now. You're responsible for the unhappiness. If you're going through unhappiness right now, you're responsible for the way that you're seeing things. So therefore, you're responsible for your unhappiness. If you're unhappy right now, you're responsible for how you see things. You're responsible for how you see things. You're the one that's giving the meaning to everything that's going on. And the way that you feel is coming from the meaning that you're giving. The way that you feel is coming from the meaning that you're giving. Your financial situation, your health situation, your job situation, your spiritual situation. All of your unhappiness on any level is coming from you, and all of your happiness and all your joy is ultimately also coming from you, because you are the one that's giving everything all the meaning that it has for you. So that means you're free, and it means nobody's making you feel the way that you feel. So therefore, you could change the way you feel right now if you were willing to use a new interpretation and stop holding grievances and attacking your happiness plan. Because if you're sitting up right now in a situation trying to figure out how somebody needs to change in order for you to be happy, then you are using the wrong plan for happiness. And the right plan for happiness is to ask 4 questions. What are the 4 questions? What would you have me do? To spirit. Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And who do you want me to say it to? That's basically what you're supposed to be doing, instead of trying to figure out how you can manipulate other people to be the way you want them to be in order for you to be happy. You should be asking your higher power. In this situation that I'm dealing with this person right now, in this situation that I'm in right now, what do you want me to do? Higher self, inner self, spirit, what do you want me to do? And where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? I'm getting ready to talk to my boss. What do you want me to say? I'm getting ready to talk to my child. What do you want me to say? I'm getting ready to talk to my relative about this situation. You would go, if you were a conscious being and you're beginning to wake up, the first thing you would go, you would be, oh my God, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? And who do you want me to say it to? And I'm getting upset because of stuff that their body is doing and what I perceive their body is doing. So I've forgotten that they're an unlimited spiritual being beyond the body. I've forgotten that they're an unlimited spiritual being beyond the body. I've forgotten that this person is me. I've forgotten this person is me. I've forgotten that we both are love. I've forgotten that we both spirit. I think they are that body that's doing the thing that's upsetting me, that I think I need to get changed. And I feel like God gave me a bum deal, because it was said that I'm protected and that I'm loved, but I'm going through all these situations and circumstances that's making me unhappy. And it looks like, especially with my next birthday coming up, I'm getting closer and closer to dying. So God, you're a big old liar. You're a big old liar. And so the truth is, when I look at myself as a body and forget that I'm a spiritual being, then I think I'm a victim of what's happening to me, because I don't think I have the power to create my reality. And you have the power to create your experience. You have the power to create your experience. You have the power to create your experience. You invent it. You invent it. Everything you see, everything you're experiencing, everything you see, everything you experience is coming from your consciousness. It's coming from your consciousness. It's coming from your beliefs. It's coming from your mind. When you open up your eyes, you're looking at your mind. When you open up your eyes, you're looking at your mind. When you open up your eyes, what you're seeing the reflections of your thoughts. Thoughts never leave their source. Whatever you see is always connected to you. Whatever you see is always connected to your mind. Whatever you see is connected to your mind. But if you think you're a body, it's just a human being that's separate from everybody around you, you're going to think you're this victim that can be hurt, which makes you forget your true identity. And you're trying to figure out how to change everybody else outside you to be happy. This is a half of one lesson. This book is deep.
Yeah.
It is not for the faint of heart. I never expect the world to study the Course in Miracles. But the truth comes in many forms. So everybody's going to get it the way that works for them. That's what I love. This is not the only path, but this is definitely the path for some people. And for me, it was my path. What's your path? Your path will be something that you do. It would be something you give attention to, you give study to, and you will do it. And nothing can stop you from doing it. That's how you know when you come up on your path. You will want to do it.
Yeah.
That's too obvious. There's another one of those obvious things, right? How did I know the Course in Miracles was my path? Even though I thought it was crazy and I didn't understand what I was reading and I had resistance to the terminology and all that stuff that many people do when they first open it up, I couldn't put it down and I still kept on wanting to study it for some reason. And then I saw that it gave me miracles in my life beyond my wildest dreams. So the hardest part of anything the Course in Miracles teaches is getting started, the beginning. The hardest part of any path or anything is just getting started in the first place. And that's the hardest part with Course in Miracles students, or people who say they're interested in the Course, is for them to actually pick up the book, give it attention and study, and start working on it. But you should be inspired by it. So inspiration is to be in spirit. So here's a quick tip before we finish. A quick tip is to be inspired is to be in spirit. To be inspired is to be in spirit. If you don't feel inspired, you're not listening to your spirit. If your spirit is guiding you, it should turn you on. Do I look like a person that's been reading this for 43 years? Do I look bored? Do I look unexcited? No. Because it's my path. And I'll stay on it as long as I stay inspired. And if their day comes that I'm not inspired by the Course, then I know that I need to go into that, whatever that is. See? So don't get addicted to the road sign and forget that it's the destination that's making it important. So I'll say it again. Those of you who want to get deeper into A Course in Miracles and you want to use that as your path, then I'm here for you. And I have hundreds and hundreds of classes on YouTube, and I have hundreds of classes on Facebook. And these are freely available to you to study. And I'm also available for one-on-one personal sessions called clarity sessions. And I can be helpful to you looking at that situation another way or getting additional insight. It's not a commercial, it's an offer. It's letting you know that you don't have to make the mistakes that other people make who try to do it on their own by themselves. I can save you some time, Course in Miracles student, or anybody else, if you're open and receptive. If you don't trust me, if you got reservations, don't come to me. Who God is guiding you to, you'll feel safe to approach that person, and you'll be open and receptive to working with that person. If you feel a suspicion toward me, then please wait until it's gone or go to somebody else. Because you want to go in the direction of where you feel loved and where you feel inspired. That's the direction you want to take. That's your spiritual direction. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes. So those of you who, I'm a full-time teacher of the course. I do it on a donation basis. Those who would like to do that, I would like to give you that opportunity. And I feel like I deserve whatever I receive. And you deserve whatever you receive. We passed it through that one. Thank you. Also, those of you online who would like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can use Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, the Cash App. All you need is my email address, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I do it this way because I want to make what I do available to everyone regardless of their financial situation. I share what I do the way that I do it so that anybody can avail themselves of it regardless of their financial situation. Because I trust those that are supposed to share and are there to share will, because God is my source, and that's the way I look at the whole thing, and that's the way the Course says you should look at the question of payment. The Course in Miracles teaches that Spirit knows that you have needs while you think you're here. God knows, Spirit knows that you have needs while you think you're here, and will give you what you need to stay if you're willing to fulfill your function. Then people say, well, what is my function? He says, well, your function is to forgive. But what does to forgive means? It means to learn how to look at your life and everybody in a brand new way. that would allow you to have peace. Forgiveness is not overlooking what somebody did to you. Forgiveness is not trying to overlook somebody for what they did to you. According to the Course in Miracles, that is not forgiveness. Forgiveness is your willingness to look at it another way that would give you peace. So you're forgiving me if you're willing to look at me another way. If you're willing to be taught another way to look at me, then that is forgiveness from a Course in Miracles perspective, because it has its own definitions of all the terms. So Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, I do Course in Miracles Facebook Live. That's what we have right here. We have people here so you can come and in person. And it's at 1555 Race Street, 1555 Race Street in Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado, 80206. Okay, so you're welcome to come in person, and it's also online. Right now, I'm doing Thursday nights at 7 p.m. online on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, 7 p.m. Mountain Time online. I do what I call Hardcore Course in Miracles. Hardcore Course in Miracles is a Course in Miracles presentation that's especially geared toward Course in Miracles students and people who are studying the course. Okay, so it's also hardcore. Okay, and so that's available 7 p.m. on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, and you also have the replays, and you can also go to YouTube, so you can watch it whenever you choose to. I'm excited about this upcoming year. Spirit has given me a lot of insight about directions and things that it wants me to do to increase my release of my own guilt, my own grievances, my own misperceptions, because I'm teaching what I need to learn. 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 So I need to learn how to forgive, so I teach a class on forgiveness. I need to learn how to really be free, so I teach freedom. You see what I'm saying? I'm teaching what I need to learn. Don't you ever think for a second when you're listening to any teacher that they are saying anything that they themselves don't need to learn themselves. That's the way it works. The teacher and the learner are the same. So anybody that's teaching you that they're different from you, then they're coming out of their ego. We are in the Course in Miracles says we're on the same level, that all of us are on the same level. Do you know what that level is? The learning level. So it says you're all on the same level. Nobody's higher than anybody else. You all are on the same level of consciousness. You all are learning. Does that make sense? So let's take a minute right now to bring it in. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for your happiness. The part of you that wants to be separate, the part of you that wants to be separate, had to have something to be separate in. Had to have something to be separate in. That's where your body came from. Your body came from. Your body came from your desire as a God, spiritual, created being. You wanted to be separate and you wanted to be special. That desire to be separate and special produced a body that you seem to be in, separate from everything and everyone around you. The way you stay in that body, separate from everybody else, is to keep some kind of grievance going. You have to keep some kind of grievance going, because when you feel angry, you feel separate. And when you feel depressed, you feel separate. And when you feel sick, you feel separate. So fear and anger and guilt and sickness and upset, the purpose is to keep you in a body, to keep you feeling separate, to keep you in a body, to keep you feeling separate. And you need to remember that when you tell yourself that somebody needs to be different in order for you to be happy, that grievance makes you separate. So holding grievances is an attack. It's an attack on love's plan for your happiness. So keep on reading this section. We're going to take it slow, the way the Course says. So what is the thought? What's the thought you want to take with you? Stop confusing everybody with their bodies and say when somebody's doing something that displeases you. Tell yourself that, boy, if I hold a grievance against this person, this is a direct attack on the plan for my happiness. If I insist that this person has got to be different in order for me to feel peace, that my peace is dependent on them and what they do, that's an attack on the universe's plan, Spirit's plan for my happiness. And I'm trying to limit myself to a body, and I'm trying to limit them to a body, and we're forgetting that we are unlimited. You are unlimited. You are unlimited. You are loved. 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 You are lovable, and you are loving. Mighty companions. Mighty companions. You are a blessing in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being online. I'm watch every one of your comments. I'm only here to be truly helpful. I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent Spirit, God, love that sent me. I don't have to worry, and you don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because Spirit who sent you will direct you, and you will be healed as you let Spirit teach you to heal, teach you to be a peaceful, loving presence in this place. So, may the course be with you. May the course be with you. Would you be willing to acknowledge yourself?
Yeah.
Those are here. Would you be willing to get some love up? To get some love? Okay, that was the practice run. Would you be willing to give yourself some taking appreciation? Thank you. Thank you, kid. Good. Don't forget, nobody here knows about your ego. So we can just really just love each other to no end. Isn't that right? Yeah. Hey, I told you, put your clothes on. I love you. See you next time.